Hey everybody, welcome back to Vex Comics. Last week we covered Brainiac, one of Superman's baddest villains, and today we're going to switch over to one of the other baddest Superman villains, Lex Luthor. And Lex is almost the perfect polar opposite of Superman. Superman is alien, Lex is human. Superman embodies hope, compassion, and the limitless potential of helping others. Lex embodies ambition, ego, and self-reliance. And Superman grew up on a farm, simple life. Lex is a billionaire. Almost in every way, the opposite. But out of all of the different variations of Lex that we've had, one thing has always stayed the same: his obsession with his opposite, Superman. And not only is he obsessed, he also believes that Superman is holding humankind back. But it goes a bit deeper than that, because Lex's whole situation is making technology to become stronger and fight back people and beings that would otherwise be too strong for humans. And mostly in a way to help bring humans up to the same playing field as metahumans or aliens, like Superman. He isn't necessarily trying to rule the world. He just believes that he has the knowledge to bring humanity to the next level. The problem is Superman showed up and made all of his work pretty much pointless. Once Superman became Superman, and it kind of turned into why should John the accountant learn how to put on this huge mech suit to fight aliens when we have Superman who's already doing all of that. So Lex sees it like Superman came and took the entire spotlight from him and shifted the whole direction away from everything that he wanted for people. So our first real clash between the modern era of these two, Lex and Superman, happens during the Last Sun arc, where General Zod, who's kind of an evil Kryptonian, him and his allies all come to Earth, specifically Metropolis, and fight with Superman. And they mostly did it because Superman's there, but Lex uses this opportunity to manipulate humanity to be do y'all really want to be defenseless against this? You see what having Superman here brings us? Because he, General Zod made it pretty clear that he came to Earth because that's where Superman was. It was pretty effective, since Superman couldn't really fight Zod and do PR defense, from Lex kind of slandering him. But this event really kicked off the humans wanting their own autonomy against metahumans, and alien threats, because it was a real issue at their door. General Zod was there. They had actual proof of it happening. And if Superman wasn't here, all of these buildings and people wouldn't be gone now from Zod. And does that factor into why other bigger bad guys have come around? Would we be in a better position without Superman? And these questions kind of swirled into propaganda, like a big propaganda machine that was easily pushed by Lex, who, even better, had solutions to these questions and shared his own visions of a human-led Earth. Interestingly enough, our next story arc with Lex brings us to Forever Evil, where the Justice League, including Superman, are trapped and incapacitated by the invading Earth 3 crime syndicate, who are like the bad versions of the Justice League from a world where heroes and villains are kind of like swapped. And essentially, Earth is left in the hands of the villains, with the Justice League just kind of gone. So Lex saw this as a perfect opportunity, and he emerges as one of the only people with the resources, smarts, and even the courage to stand up to the crime syndicate. Like, I mean, they have an evil Superman, so nobody's like rushing to the front lines. Granted, he's not doing this for like the betterment of humankind. It's because the syndicate is a threat to his world and his control. And if they were in power, then he wouldn't be. But this was an interesting moment because it did kind of highlight Lex as a good guy, depending on the situation. But he even assembled a group of villains called the Injustice League to fight the Syndicate. And ultimately he defeats Ultraman and basically saves the Earth when the Justice League couldn't. Eventually the Justice League comes back afterwards. But at this point, Lex's public image was at an all-time high. Like, forever the corrupt tycoon arch-villain was now suddenly Earth's celebrated savior. And this kind of rose him up to be the humans' champion. And that kind of takes us into the next arc for Lex. Like, he slowly is making this progression in his life in the new era of Lex Luthor, like the modern Lex Luthor. And this one's kind of a more interesting one. It's one of the first looks of Lex's mind from his perspective, as opposed to what he thinks from a Superman's perspective, like all the other like comics and stories about Lex have been in the past. So in Lex Luthor Man of Steel, we don't see Superman as a hero, but as Lex sees him, as a like godlike alien menace whose existence threatens human independence. We learn that Lex truly, genuinely believes that he himself is humanity's protector and the only one willing to stand up against Superman. And kind of the big contradiction is he could be like humanity's protector, like Lex could be, but everything that he does is so in spite of Superman that all of his ideas are more to prove that Superman is like a false idol. Like it's like involved in everything that he does. It's not just to help humans be able to fight back. It's to help humans fight Superman, which leaves out a good chunk of the things they would need to fight against. And this arc kind of gets to like a meta point where he doesn't want to beat Superman to be stronger or anything to like continue being Earth's savior. He just doesn't agree with the idea of Superman in the first place, of just like him existing, like saving people so they never learn to save themselves. Like, why have firemen when Superman can just come by and save everybody? And so he like doesn't like the idea of that. So it's just like his fundamental existence is what he disagrees with. So as we inch closer to the end of the New 52 era, something starts happening to Superman. he's dying from just years of battles and prolonged exposure to kryptonite. He's started to get weaker and weaker, eventually building up to like there's a solar flare that gets released from Superman's body, which like that doesn't kill him himself, but it's like the result of him dying. But that did let Lex step in and take his place as humanity's true protector. Like it's finally his time. He even kind of showed up wearing a high-tech mech suit that looked kind of similar to Superman's look, even with an S shield on his chest, saying that the symbol of Superman should belong to everyone, not just an alien. And he even reframed what the S stood for, saying it would embody the ideals that people would associate with Superman, like strength, leadership, protection, but it would all be under humanity's terms now. So he wasn't just like stealing Superman's whole thing, but he was also rewriting it. Which, I mean, it's like it's fair game because he's gone. But people had mixed emotions about it. I mean, lots of people were mourning Superman and kind of saw Lex as the same bad guy that he's kind of always been. But just as many people were happy that he stepped up into this role and completely stood behind Lex for putting aside everything for the greater good to defend humanity now. Like, it was like, oh, like he's not actually just after Superman because Superman's gone, and he's still stepping up and doing it. But as fast as Lex rose to power to claim the mantle of Earth's protector, the pre-Flashpoint era Superman emerged from the many crisis events that led us to this point. And he took up the mantle as this Earth's new Superman, which is just like really terrible luck for Lex. Like so close. He was there. He was in. He finally got rid of Superman. He was there. He was still Earth's protector. Everybody could listen to him now, and he'd be right. And just for a newer, younger, better Superman to pop up. No, there's some times where you just have to like accept the loss. Like no matter what you did, this was still going to happen. Like, how could Lex foresee the pre-Flashpoint Superman showing up? You just gotta like, oh, you got me. But I mean, this was planned by the writers to kind of reset Superman because it was really needed. But as a few years pass, Lex was forced to kind of like sidestep to let this new Superman come in and be Earth's protector again, and we hit some interesting times. Lots of new cosmic energies started flowing and spilling into the multiverse, as we've covered in the past couple episodes. And this is from the source wall shattering, and and a second result of the shattering was a fragment of the wall crashing onto Earth in the form of the totality. It's like a huge fragment of the source itself, containing the blueprint of creation. And everyone important quickly realized that this wasn't just a crashed fragment of the source wall, but it was the key to unimaginable power. And whoever could control it would be able to shape pretty much the whole universe. And one of the first people to realize this was, of course, our smartest boy, Lex, who very quickly understood what the totality represented. And he kind of had a unique perspective on it because, like we talked about, he believed that Superman is creating everything that's wrong with humanity, that life isn't about hope or justice, and that it's more of not really survival of the fittest, but you have to do it yourself. Like if you're not gonna survive, and then like combat and everything is going to, that's how you build the strongest group of people to go through these challenges and try to make it through them. And the ones that make it through it are better for it. And the totality, basically, it kind of proves him right, or at least gives him enough evidence to argue his point better than anyone else could. I mean, it's messing with forces that humans were so far away from even like needing to be concerned with. Like, these energies could destroy entire universes in an attempt to correct disorder, and it worked almost like a machine. So it wasn't like a biased view of it. It was just like, oh, this universe didn't work out, reset. And it was like getting God's official ledger and rule book that he had during like God training. Like, just forces way beyond what anybody should be dealing with at a human level. But at the end of the day, nowhere in this rule book does it say that Jeff shouldn't rob a bank because it's bad. Like, nothing in the totality cares about any of that. And like, the result will still be that this universe was fundamentally bad, and it will just get recycled into a new one. So Lex develops a new philosophy that we touched on a bit during the Metal Aftermath, which was doom. And that doom was the natural state of existence. It was inevitable, and that everyone is just along for the ride. And nothing good you do will ever offset the doom coming to you from powers infinitely beyond your control. And Lex really likes being correct in his philosophies. Like, he doesn't want to worship what one guy stands for. He wants to worship like the end all be all. Like, if something created this thing, he wants to worship the thing that created the thing that everybody's worshiping until there's no more things above that. And because he saw everything else as like a fake, weak, created ideal that either people or the Justice League clung to. And it was like, if this guy makes this thing, who's he to say that this, like, just like anything with religion or like anything. But what kind of this kind of thinking and the totality and everything, building upon this doom philosophy of his, kind of elevated Lex to a new cosmic level, where he was more starting a cosmic ideological war. So he needed a group of people that shared his vision, that were kind of on his same level. So he formed the Legion of Doom, or I guess reenacted the Legion of Doom. And so he gathered up his now much more heavily superpowered classic villains that all countered each member of the Justice League in their own way. And they set out to remake the universe and align it with what Lex believed was its true nature. And it kind of switched the fights from heroes versus villains into justice versus doom. not to be confused with the literal comics run Justice versus Doom. But Lex didn't just adjust his philosophy. He did a whole full rebranding. Like, no more plain human Lex Luthor. He decided to combine his DNA with Martian DNA, turning him into Apex Lex, who had telepathy, he could shapeshift, and pretty much anything else associated with the Martians. Which was kind of, I don't know, kind of ironic, I guess. You know, he's doing this whole thing to better humans, to fight against aliens. But who am I? Who am I to say what, you know? And these new powers combined with who he already was almost pretty much turned him into a cosmic entity of his own making. And having so much more power, he set his sights on like a bit bigger and decided that he wanted the whole multiverse to exist under his law of doom, which led to a pretty interesting moment. Now Lex is very like ideal driven. If something goes against what he's chosen as the way it should be, then you are like his enemy. And at the time, not to give too much of a spoiler since he was just defeated in metal, but the Batman Who Laughs was back and actively trying to reshape the universe as well, but in the name of chaos, not doom. Which kind of competed with Lex. And this kind of marks the first time that Apex Lex began a conflict with someone not in the Justice League. Now let's be honest. The Batman Who Laughs is eons old, has lived in the dark multiverse, watched countless universes die, and then some. And Lex, on the other side, has a confirmation bias from looking at part of a space wall. I mean, it's, you know, a little less nuanced than that, but at the end of the day, that's kind of what the two sides are up against. So ultimately, Lex's attempt to embody doom as a natural law backfired, which shifted the power balance again, because even at his most evolved he's ever been, he still couldn't play with the big multiverse boys who had a much better grasp on multiversal forces than Lex did. So ultimately, Lex is dethroned. He's kind of tossed away by some larger powers at play right now, and the Batman Who Laughs is chosen over him as like the chosen one to rule over the multiverse, basically. So Lex is down and out, like completely defeated, told to hang it up and go home. So he does the only thing he can think of and goes to the Justice League, where he shares all his knowledge about Doom and everything he's figured out about the multiverse. It was a long shot. I mean, he wasn't exactly looking for like redemption of any kind. It was more his only opportunity to adapt, like when the thing he built his whole life around just fell apart. I won't really touch on death metal since that will come in a few weeks. But following the cataclysm created in death metal, the multiverse was permanently changed into a new expansive universe where every past continuity, pre-crisis, post-crisis, New 52, Rebirth, they were all reestablished as part of an omniverse. Which was a great opportunity for everyone involved. And for characters, like, they were able to get redefined into a new structure without a rigid continuity basis. For Lex, it was a chance to reposition himself into what he did best. After the failed Apex Lex experiment, Lex leaned into his more familiar role of manipulating from the background and kind of preparing himself for this new post-death metal reality. Like really going back to his roots of a humanity first, as long as it was controlled and guided by him. And as we enter the age of the infinite frontier, Lex doesn't really get a headline arc. I mean, he was cosmically humiliated. Even though he did prove that he could always survive and adapt and whatever, he still kind of had to hang back and decided to, instead of be on the front lines, to plant seeds of influence in corporations and governments and different science groups and things like that. Like, he might not be ready now, but when the day comes, he wants to be. One thing he did really excel at in this time was, to the public, he appeared to be focusing on himself. But while in the shadows, constantly undermining Superman. So it's like there wouldn't be enough proof that he was doing it. So you'd really have to accuse him with just hunches and no proof. And this didn't really materialize into anything specific, but it was just like a constant handicap for Superman, where Lex only looked good because he could just be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm busy helping scientists and the government. Sorry, I'm not involved in this whole stuff with Superman. If, you know. But no, like, being human only gets you so far. No matter how many little side quests and mini schemey games you do, ultimately, Lex is still human. And for Lex, his years of his own experiments using kryptonite in an attempt to, like, figure out the best way to kill Superman with kryptonite ended up catching up with him in the form of an incurable, rapidly spreading disease. And we might remember this from the Superman of this world, since the new Superman is the pre-crisis Superman. And this was the first time that Lex had actually faced his own mortality after all of the crazy, like, cosmic battles of everything. And rather than throw all his money at the disease, or like all of his tech, and try to figure it out, he turns to Superman and asks for Superman to save him. Which you can imagine is a huge ask for Superman. Like, ultimate moral dilemma. But, like, Superman can't just turn away someone in need of help. So he goes on, like, a whole cosmic quest to cure Lex. He goes to the Phantom Zone, the bottled city of Kandor, the realm of the New Gods, literally every possible avenue in the cosmos to figure this out. And the more Superman searched, the more we as the reader get to see a true vulnerable side of Lex, where he's always been like a man defined by his hatred of Superman, where now he is only kept alive because of Superman's willingness to help him. And this ended up being more of an ultimate struggle for Superman instead of Lex, despite Lex being the one dying. And it leads us to a final moment between Lex and Superman, where Superman returns empty-handed with no cure, but offers to make Lex's death as comfortable as possible. I mean, no matter what he does, Lex is going to die anyways. So Superman really didn't have to do anything. Because it was also like in a private moment between just them. So it's like it was really this moment of Superman like really standing for his core values. Like, it isn't about saving everyone. It's about trying to be the best version of yourself, even when you don't owe anything to anyone. But it was a nice final moment. Nothing huge, no huge battle or anything. But it was just two people who have always hated each other, offering basic dignity at the end, you know? Lex doesn't get redeemed or anything like that, but both of them get to reflect and really decide who they want to be, even if it is Lex's final moments. So with the sad ending, or like our Lex Luthor's actual enemy was his own ambition. His constant exposure to kryptonite as a means to kill Superman ultimately killed him. Now, I will say, we don't actually see Lex take his final breath, which is interesting. I mean, everything is very heavily implied, to be fair. But I don't know. I'd expect more than an implication for a character like Lex Luthor officially dying. But who knows? Maybe they just wanted the nice moment to end as that. That despite all these huge cosmic and devastating battles, the final chapter for Lex ends in compassion. But next week, we cover the year of the villain. We dipped our toe in a bit today, but it wasn't called the year of Lex. So there's definitely more to cover. But I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
It's the smooth sound of diamond pistols. Panic at the disco. Neck, wrist, diamonds, but I never smoke crystal. Wild jello, mason gravy posted in the middle. Whole lot of fine shit in both of my peripherals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 30 under 30. 300 women dive up in it like I'm Xerxes. Sailing through the streets with the drip, give them scurvy. End it on a high note, feel like Brendan Urie. I chime in with a haven't you people ever heard of? Getting your goddamn dough up, go and get some bread. Stack that change till the day I'm dead. I chime in, haven't you people ever heard of? Getting your goddamn hoes up, put you on game. Make that bag, then you make it rain. Butter up the booty, had to spray it with the Crisco. Creme brulee skin, but the coochie on flamingo. Kitty talking to me, call me Dr. Doolittle. Before she get the dick, she gon' have to solve a riddle. Coochie waterfall, TLC hit it channel. Shit was so bustin' that I busted accidental. That was yo bitch, must be coincidental. Let me talk to him, baby, flip the instrumental. I only write hymns, I don't write no travesties. Every time I step out, catch a few casualties. I've been known to pull, baby, it's young gravity. I only get addressed by your wife as your majesty. My home's handpicked with poison rationality. Swiss, Persian, Thai, Cuban, plenty nationalities. Riding drop top with a miscongeniality. Got 6 Vogue models in my booth at the Applebee's.
I chime in with a haven't you people ever heard of?
Getting your goddamn dough up, go and get some bread. Stack that change till the day I'm dead.
I chime in, haven't you people ever heard of?
Getting your goddamn hoes up, put you on game. Make that bag, then you make it rain.
I chime in with a haven't you people ever heard of?
Getting your goddamn dough up, go and get some bread. Stack that change till the day I'm dead.
I chime in, haven't you people ever heard of?
Getting your goddamn hoes up, put you on game. Make that bag, then you make it rain.